You in there?
Really just emphasizing, man, this is why we tell you guys it's important for you to understand fundamental analysis and technical analysis. We got that fundamental analysis, which is the news, right? Then we got the technical analysis, which is this chart, right? And based off the chart, the last few months, what have we been talking about? We've been talking about the market when it gets down and it gets to a point where it's dipping. You take advantage of those dips because the market moves in cycles. We've been saying that, right? For the last few weeks on this chart, I'm gonna remove these lines for a minute. We're on the weekly time frame. So I'm on the weekly time frame right now, and that means each of these candles represent a week. So this is this week, this is last week, and then for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for the past 5 weeks, right? We ain't been doing nothing but going down. We went from, this is on the SPY chart, we went from 691 to a low of 629. And when we got here at that 629, we was telling you guys, take advantage. We was telling you guys all the way down, start dollar cost averaging, start building a plan, start choosing your investments, right? And I'm only emphasizing this to show you guys this is what it looks like in real time to buy these assets and take advantage of these dips and see how you benefit from it, right? So, and that's how the fundamental analysis with the news is exactly how it coincides. Same thing for crypto, same thing for the stocks. Trump, he's one thing, he likes to talk, right? So, and when it comes down to what the president says, it matters a lot in the stock market because we make our decisions based off of how well this economy is doing. How are we moving forward? And if we look like we're moving forward without a war, this is what we get. If we look like we're moving forward with a war, which could happen tomorrow, then we go back to the downside. And another thing is, man, the market moves up so much is that's why you just have to have a plan because it's up today. And I guarantee you next week we may be talking about it being down again because of something else coming out, right? So, you got anything you want to touch on with that, brother?
Yeah, Trump said that there's a ceasefire for the next 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? So I think that the rest of this week may have that upward trend, but for the most part, I think we're going to be sideways moving, consolidating, just while the market is unaware of how uncertain of how things are going to be moving from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that for SPY, you know what I'm saying, for Bitcoin, you know what I'm saying, the major multiple asset classes are going to consolidate. Going to be like a choppy.
You know, that's actually a very good point because with you saying that, I agree. We may get some choppiness and then even head back down to the downside because we're rocky right now because what he's saying doesn't really have much substance to it. He's talking good 1 week, then 2 weeks he may not be talking good, right? So right here, I just want to break down before we get into the Bitcoin. I just wanted to break down this SPY chart real quick for you guys, right? So there's a lot of things going on this chart, but I'm going to represent each thing. So this green line, this is the tippy top, right? That's that brick wall that I be talking about. We're trying to get to that 700 level, but we can't reach there, right? Since the beginning of the year, we haven't been able to get above that 700 so that's the tippy top of the tippy top, right? This white line right here, we'll get this out the way. This don't really matter today. This white line right here that I have at 629, that was that support point that I was just talking about. Every time we get to this 629, it gets bought up, right? It's a demand zone. So we have that tippy top, then we got this 629, right? We bounced off of that 629. Now we may go back up to that tippy top. Who knows, right? But most importantly, I want to talk about this red line. This is a trend line, right? And the reason why I have this trend line here is because I'm gauging when market breaks this trend line, this tells me that we're now in a downtrend, right? And then I already got my levels for when we are at that downtrend to take advantage of. So this downtrend, knowing that we're expecting to drop, if you hear everybody talking about we're expecting to drop, we've been talking about that. If you've heard that around the stock market, that's nothing new. But you can't really time the drop. So all you gotta do is look at the levels, right? So these are two SPY levels that I'm looking at, right? If we end up getting a 20%, 18% drop, right? If we drop 18% to 20%, that's what we did in April 2025, and we came right back up, right? If we end up getting that drop, that's right here to me, $568, right? That's where I'm looking at, right? And the reason why I'm looking at it is you can see the bounces off that 578 on the weekly time frame, that support. Then I got that 30% drop. But what's dope about this 30% drop is when it comes down to levels, they work like magnets. So if we end up actually moving towards that downside, or when we end up moving towards that downside, the market and investors are looking for prime levels where it was bought up last time, right? And last year we saw April 2025, we got that 30% drop to that 480 and it shot right back up. April 2024, we got a drop to the same point. And even though the drop wasn't big, this was the beginning of the rally to the upside. So those 2 points, I'm looking at the 30% drop. And the crazy thing about that is they both happened in April. April 2024 and April 2025. I don't know what's going to happen with this April. They do say history doesn't always repeat itself, but it often does rhyme. So once again, you can't time the stock market. You can't predict the stock market, but what you can do is be prepared. So these are the levels that I'm looking at SPY, man, based off of just the being prepared and the preparation. And that's all I got, man.
I want to touch on that too. I see everything that you're seeing. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that the people see it too, right?
Yes, sir.
So just like you said, that 18% drop from the tippy top resistance level. I see that there's also like a place of I'm gonna delete it, but right here, you know what I'm saying, where we had that peak, right at that high of 2025, right from that April low, right?
Yep.
We had that drop, and we had consolidated before we. This is like another resistance level ultimately.
Yeah.
So just like you were saying that those levels are kind of magnetic, I could see that the trend line that you drew right here is where price is gonna be. Not gonna be, but you know what I'm saying? I can see what you're saying, that vision, what you were saying. I can see that because there's a resistance level here that it could, support level here, it could be it's a magnet ultimately, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and I see
sir.
that bounce. And I see that bounce coming from going there, right? You go in here, doing a little bit of this, and up in them 700s, man, ultimately. So yeah, that was great breakdown, bro. Ultimately, I see everything you know what I'm saying? I seen it.
And that's the power of the charts, man. That's the power of the charts. So whatever you got with the crypto, bro.
Oh yeah.
Break us down with the crypto, man.
Let's
with
see.
With everything that's going on, man.